We've read it over really quickly. We picked 8 captains. They picked from a pool of 32 community players that we had sign up, and thus drafted their teams almost fantasy football-like. And here we have Team Kebam versus Evil Cookie. These guys have a grudge match going on. Both of these players really want their teams to go for the win, and we see some early bans here: Zareth, Vayne, Lee Sin, Udyr, Warwick. But what's really important here is Kebam really wants to win this tournament. He wins pretty much any local event that he captains at, but he kind of underpicked his team for this, is what we feel like. So we feel like maybe Kebam might be, if he pulls this out, he might be the greatest captain in our local area.
So a little bit more about judgment. Just outside of 8 captains was standing. If anybody played back in beta, or even just playing nowadays, just in solo queue or whatnot, it's kind of rough to either find a team and get a bunch of team members online, or even just throwing yourself into solo queue every now and then. It's just just doesn't, there's just something not there. There's something's missing. So back in beta, my co-caster here, Pato, and by the way, my name's Hywen, had an opportunity to play in something called the All or Nothing Friday Night Scrims, and what that was the folks from from TSM, like Reginald and Dan Den, and just a lot of players who were back in the beta said, hey, sign up on our forums. Once we get 40 people, we're going to select 8 captains. We're going to pick players from there, and we're going to put some teams together and play some round robin. Back then, it was the only place to get arranged team practice, and meet some players. Some guys that came from Han, some guys were playing Han at the time. A lot of players that came from Dota. A lot of top tier players. I had the pleasure of playing against Ginsu, who jumped in with a couple Riot interns back then, so it was really cool. And finally, 2 years later, we get a chance to reboot this and present it under the Raise Your Weapon banner. And on top of that, because Raise Your Weapon is so devoted to building up our community here in the Pacific Northwest, that was our trial market. We said, hey, we got a lot of good players here in the Northwest. We got a lot of people that are interested in the game. They love League of Legends. We want to take 40 players, select 8 captains, have the captains pick these guys, most of which they've had a chance to play with, or they know a little bit about, or they'll be able to find some more information. And then, there'll be some players that don't know so much about, but they're going to have this opportunity to pick a couple teams. They're going to get to know each other, and we're going to be able to run this, every couple of weeks, throwing more and more Riot points out there to just as an additional incentive. So that, in a sense, in a nutshell, is what what Judgment is. It's a captain's draft. It's fun. It's somewhat informal, but there's still a lot of competition. There's still that competitive drive to want to win and play. So, we're excited to bring this to you, and even more so is the fact that we know these players. We know the captains. We've met them at local events, and I'm going to stop right now as we jump right into the picks, because we're about to see something amazing go down. And Callan, can you tell everybody what that is?
What the amazing thing is going to go down? What are you talking about?
The Amumu pick for Team Kebam.
No, okay, no, hold on a second. Hold on. So what I'm trying to actually put out is that the Eve pick is actually a proxy pick, so that's not actually Eve. That's not part of their strategy. Just so everybody in chat knows, that's not legit. But the Amumu pick, that might be for Kebam, because Kebam pretty much solo. He played League of Amumu for a while, but the problem is that I think Kebam might want to play a carry role for his team, because it might be more important to his team's success to have him in a carry role and take over those responsibilities. And Mr. Bitterfun actually playing Teemo. He pretty much plays 100% Teemo. He's all about the Teemo. So that's actually a really exciting pick to see that he was able to get him. He wasn't banned out. On the other hand, Kuniv, the player you see there as Lulu, there's the dodge right there for the proxy pick. But the other player, Kuniv, who you saw get banned out of Lee Sin. Lee Sin is his go-to. He has a highlight reel on our YouTube. So you can actually check that out anytime you watch Champion for a Day, Kuniv. You can see his cool, sick moves. He's really great, well-known Lee Sin player, so he was quickly banned out by the other players in this game.
But yeah, that was an excellent point to point out. Some of these players don't have all the champions, and in order to make it somewhat fair, we are allowing proxy picks in any sort of tournament where you're using your main accounts, this is usually allowed. And by proxy picking, it's usually picking Evelyn or some very low tier champion that's probably not going to see play. You go ahead and pick them, and then you have your captain tell the other team captain, hey, this represents Nocturne, or this represents our mid. And then once the champion, and once you finish champ select, you're gonna go ahead and quickly recreate the game under blind pick, hopefully. Invite your casters back into the game, and then you go ahead and start the game from there. This allows the champion this allows your team not to be restricted by whether or not they own a specific champion or not. And if this were on the tournament realm, we'd be playing with everything unlocked and all sorts of skins. Which I think, speaking of skins, we're probably going to see a lot of skins here, because a lot of these players are going to get a chance to play the champions they love, not necessarily what's the top tier or the flavor of the month. Again, we know we're going to see a Teemo pick. I'm pretty sure we're going to see some sort of Superman Teemo. Could be Bunny Teemo. I don't know how many other Teemo skins there are, but I'm pretty sure all Teemo owners own a skin or two. I think you have to. I think it's like a riot rule, riot law.
It's a rite of passage, really. In order to be Teemo, you must bathe in the blood of many skins.
I don't own a Teemo skin, and therefore I do not play Teemo.
You are not worthy, sir.
I'm not worthy to play Teemo. That is 100% true story. So we're going to go ahead and jump down and spectate here, and once we go back into blind pick, we're going to see a bunch of these champions. I mean, a little bit more about the players here in this game that we're looking at here. We talked a little bit about Ben. Ben is a well-known player here in the Pacific Northwest. He usually has Otter on his team. You'll hear a lot more about Otter as we go through the event. Ben,
assuming he wins.
Assuming he wins, his team wins. Ben, is a strong strategist. Usually jungles. Doesn't necessarily stack his teams at these local events. He just goes in and plays the teams. I've had an opportunity to get crushed by him, and I learned a lot from it, and I can't wait for the next time that happens. On the other hand, if you look at the other team captain, Evil Cookie, who we've happily misspelled his name several times, sometimes on purpose.
Sometimes on purpose.
He is actually kind of like the top dude for the UW, the University of Washington Purple Caster minions. So there's a lot of folks here that go to UW, the University of Washington. They play League of Legends. Most of them are casual, but he spearheads that group. He's the admin. Or an officer. He's also kind of behind the scenes on their more competitive side of things as well. So, he's a great guy. We've got a chance to hang out with him at Barcraft one time. He's just he's in the know. He knows a lot of the players, especially the casual players. And we went ahead and got back in the game. Picks are locking in, and it looks like that proxy pick was a Galio. I believe that's what happened. And so as the players start to lock in, for Team Kebam, we actually have Otter playing Kebam. We're going to have E5 playing Wukong. We're going to have Bitterfun, who is a well-known Teemo player, playing Teemo. We're going to have Kuniv playing Amamu, and this is great because what we're expecting, or what I'm believing, is that Kebam actually took the time to teach Kuniv his lead strategy. Kebam is well known for his Amamu play at all levels, and in some places feared for it. And then we're gonna have Idir on Lulu. Looking at Team Evil Cookie, we're gonna have Galio on an Evil Cookie, so he's actually gonna forfeit jungle rights at being the captain. He's gonna play in roles that weren't normally he's being the captain. Normally you'll play a specific role that you like, but as the captain you kind of have to adjust for your team. You may take a high pick, strong ranged AD, even though you might be an AD player yourself, and then maybe support them and so forth. But it looks like Evil Cookie's gonna try and carry here on Galio. Maybe from the mid, maybe from the top lane. They're going to have a Vlad pick. We're going to have a Sona. So they're actually just building your typical, well, actually not so typical AOD. What I really like about our AOE team, what I really like about this AOE team here is they've got more than one way to initiate a fight. It's not just Galio flash alt, and just stack all, press R or win, they can actually use the Ash Arrow to initiate fights or even counter initiate, or pick someone off and get some more an advantage. They've got Nocturne, who's really good at that early lane ganking once he hits 6. Those strong lane ganks. So it should be interesting. Team Kebam has a couple time bombs that I really like.
Well, they have Kog'Maw, and whenever you have Kog'Maw, you're basically always in a state where if you get far enough into the game, you have that trump card that you can come back and win pretty much any game. I think that definitely what we see from Team Kebam is a team where they're just basically playing. He's playing to his players' strengths, what they like to play. I know Kunav actually did play a little Amumu. He actually played Amumu before he became famous for his Lee Sin play and stuff like that. He started out, but thought he was a little weak. But under the tutelage of Kebam, I'm sure he's going to know exactly what to do. I'm pretty sure Kebam could probably last hit bottom and tell Kunav exactly where to jungle and how to jungle, just because he's played him in Veterans so much. And Lulu, a lot of people think is really overpowered. So that pick, it can surprise some people, and she's going to come through, and it's going to be a pretty interesting lane. E5 is actually one of a set of we have 2 pairs of twins in this
in
this
Judgment,
league.
yeah.
Yeah, in Judgment. E5 is actually the twin of the captain of Team Satsulo, and he is going to be playing Wukong here, and he was ripped from the clutches of his twin brother by Kebam. That was actually his first pick, in spite of the fact that Kebam's pick was stolen right before him. So that's going to be a little pretty interesting if those 2 teams meet in the next round, because they could meet.
Yeah, if you see some of these players here and you kind of like what they do or who they are, you want to get to know them more. Also, you get that chance, you get an opportunity to check out the draft. We did we did the draft on Monday. Help us save us time here, so we can get these games started at roughly around 6 o'clock, and then get the whole event completed within one evening. But yeah, if you get a chance, go check out on our YouTube channel. You'll find the draft. It's really funny. We've got a lot of good personalities there. It's only 45 minutes. You can even skip ahead through some of the picks, but there's a lot of good one-liners by some of the captains. Notoriously, Dominique, the Helping Hand from Area of Defect. Just absolutely so many amazing one-liners.
That guy is hilarious, and I hear he's writing an article. Recently, we were just talking about before this tournament starts that's coming up. I guess I don't want to reveal it, actually. I'm going to steal his thunder. So he's writing a pretty funny article, so look for that on GG Chronicle, I believe, or maybe on his blog. I don't know if he is going to write for GG Chronicle or whatnot, but keep an eye out for the Helping Hands, or the Help, aka Theodore, the Helpington. Look out for his blog, because it's going to be really funny.
One more thing I'm going to go ahead and point out here. The bot lane for Evil Cookie has played together before. So Sanctified and Dexter4 used to play as ranged AD and support on Team Raise Your Weapon at local events and online. So both of those players, real common knowledge of playing with each other. Now, I don't think they've had a chance to play recently, but I can tell you that they were a really strong combination. Sanctified really good in the support role, understanding a lot of the mechanics for map awareness and warding, when to play aggressive and passive, and Dexter is probably one of the best ADs that I've had the pleasure of playing with. Some will say, well, he's not Otter, and you know what? No one is Otter. Otter you'll hear more about most likely in this event. But Otter is the top-rated player in this event. He's over 2,300 at this point. He's almost front-page material on the North American ranked ladder. But we're going to go ahead and stop talking about Otter. We're going to talk a little bit more about these 2 teams, because we have started. We're in the game. And right now, Team Kebam on a mission. Out of the gate, they're pinging.
Yeah, I mean, this what you're definitely going to see from Kebam's team is a lot of coordination. I mean, we should see coordination coming out of both teams, especially Evil Cookie. They're both great captains, but Kebam is going to be more of the taskmaster that's driving his team to do exactly what he wants them to do. Pretty interesting. Lulu's actually heading down to red, might be warding it earlier just to catch a red steal, which would be really smart, because it looks like that is what Team Evil Cookies is setting up for. And obviously, of course, I'm sure you all love the Super Teemo. There he is, hiding in the bushes, being invisible and cool and stuff. And there we go. We're going to catch this invade right now. Little Glitter Lance right there to throw down a slow. Just let him know that we know that you're there, buddy. So just gonna back off, probably do blue, and you know that's really really key because Amumu, he has a really slow start. He speeds up in his jungle the more levels he gets. He is actually not too bad once he gets a few levels, but to start out he's pretty slow, so you don't want to have any interruption of that. And great job by Kebam, you know, calling that out for his team to go do that. A very smart play.
So it looks like both teams are. Purple team's going to retreat back. They're going to give Nocturne that same quick start, give him a nice solid leash. Kuniv on a Mumu shouldn't have any problems. He's going to get these wolves. He's going to get a nice solid leash between Wukong and Teemo. And I'm really excited to see what happens in this bot lane. Kebam says he can beat any bot lane. You know, it doesn't matter a whole lot about skill. He just has, you know, he understands the mechanics of the play and the passive and being aggressive. So I really like that. He's going to be calling the game and trying to carry from the bot lane. Personally, I'm a jungler. I like to call and manage the game by being in the jungle. You know, I can just sit there and auto-attack creep camps while I'm looking at the map, trying to find ganks. So he's going to be trying to do this while trying to last hit. I kind of commend him for it.
And this is something you typically will not see in a game of League of Legends, Teemo mid versus Galio. Typically Galio is a counter to APs, and you know, maybe we're going to see an AP Teemo. Maybe that's what's in store for us, and so maybe that's the counter. But Teemo recently got some buffs. You know, it used to be that his attack speed was so fast that it didn't actually allow the tick of poison to go off on his ability, and they fixed out a lot of other little tweaks, you know, to make him more consistent and not buggy. So he actually has a little bit more DPS out here, and I'm interested to see how Bitterfun does middle here against the enemy captain right now.
I'm really enjoying that new Galio skin too.
Oh yeah, it's really cool. I love all the legendary skins coming out. Another thing to know, actually, this Ashe skin recently was on sale, and they've been talking about actually redoing Ashe's model. I'm pretty interested to see what they decide to do with that eventually. At top we have E5 versus GR Freak. Both really, really good players. E5's supposed to be, you know, according to his brother, he's supposed to be really, really amazing. A little bit of harassment, heavy harassment actually, onto Bitterfun. Looks like Evil Cookie. He's got one in every ability right now. Interested to see if he just maxes for pushing power early or what he decides to do.
Alright, so what I got going on here, we're going to take a little bit looking down here at the bottom lane matchups. Right now we know one of the things about Judgment that makes it somewhat unique is that there's going to be lots of skill gaps or in skill levels, because we've got players ranging from 2300 down to the completely unranked. Now that doesn't mean you have to be the best player or the or you're going to get carried. It's just kind of gives captains something to think about when they're picking their teams and how they're doing lane matchups and where to be. And where to have those players go. And I'm really excited to see how this turns out, because we're going to be doing this on an ongoing process. We're going to see how, you know, we're going to see a lot of returning captains. We're going to see a lot of returning draftees in the player pool. We're going to see opportunities to kind of see people evolve. You know, maybe they did a real strong showing in top lane, and they're going to go into, you know, maybe they're going to, you know, consistently play in that top lane role, and then they're going to find matchups where they're strong or weaker. So we're going to see players evolve. And we actually have a lot of damage going down on Wukong top.
And a trade coming down here. Ignite going on. GR Freak might go down. I think he's going to barely live. No, he is going to fall. And E5 now trying to get away from Mike Norman. He tries to Nimbus Strike to get away and escape that gap. And Kuniv coming in with the clutch save with the red buff applied to Mike Norman. Mike Norman trying to get out of this. I don't think he's going to be able to kill him. And Mummy is a little bit sad, but he has to be shedding tears of joy because he's able to save E5. Pretty clutch engagement up there, and the first blood of the game going down to Team Kebam. He has to be happy with his team right there.
Yeah, I couldn't have, you know, it's a wonderful thing when you're playing with people you don't normally play with, and you could just all of a sudden kind of like that feeling where like first blood has gone down. It went down to your team. The butterflies that were in your stomach before are gone, and now you're like that. Kind of like when you're in that solo queue, you're like, God, I hope my team's at a bunch of lemons. You know that feeling? You're like, all right, we got first blood. That's confidence. Let's ride it out. But we'll go ahead. I was going to say one thing to note is we can tell that one team's farmer better than the other, because even with that first blood, there's still there's a slight gold deficit.
And a lot of the farm differential kind of is showing up in bottom. Kebam a little bit behind here. He's going to pick up a few on this wave, and he's not too far behind. No one's really too far behind, but Yeah, definitely a farm discrepancy, and Wukong going in again with that really quick harassment. GR Freak's going to actually be in a little bit of trouble because, Wukong can actually do a lot of burst damage until GR Freak, hits around that level 9 range, gets his Gunblade in there so he can sustain really, really well. He's going to be under a lot of pressure. And it looks like Teemo did go back. He actually bought some magic resistance on his first trip back, and Galio bought himself a Chalice. See, Nocturne crossing here. He is level 5. You're going to have to look out once he hits level 6. So Galio is maxing Resolute Smite. Wants to keep up the harassment and pressure on Teemo, who's a little bit behind now. 27 CS to Galio's 49, so that is another big discrepancy they're going to have to deal with. But, Teemo's awesome. I'm sure he's going to come through. Again, Bitter Fun actually, he's... Kebam actually, kind of reached down, in the rankings, kind of reached for Mr. Bitter Fun. But Bitter Fun, since he was a Teemo player, he, captured Kebam's heart. Kebam really, really wanted Teemo players. Pretty much everybody on his team plays Teemo or has a high win rate or play rate with Teemo. Even E5, as you can see up here, as on Wukong does. And it looks like they might feed blue to Mummy. Teemo is rotating over, but I think they're going to feed it to Mummy.
So if I'm Kebam, I'm sitting there thinking, hey, what are my lane matchups? I got to really, my first pick was solo top, so I got to feel pretty confident about my solo top. As a captain, I'm going to have to go bot lane, and I know I'm going up against their first pick, and probably, a team that's been really strong in terms of having to play together. You've got Dexter, who's also playing with Sanctified, so he knows that's probably one of their strongest lanes. And he's also going to have to pit, Bitter Fun, who was somewhat of a later pick against their captain. So he knows he has somewhat of a disadvantage mid. He doesn't know what advantage he has in bot lane, so he's going to maybe hope to break even and maybe be slightly behind. But I really think he's putting a lot of his chips or eggs in a basket, so to speak, on top lane and maybe even jungle. So I kind of like this. I like seeing this matchup, knowing that there are certain skill gaps or certain advantages or disadvantages based on skill, and just matching those up and trying to exploit those or expose those. We can see E5 here putting Freak down just quite, just below 25%. And with his pull down, he can play a little aggressive.
Yeah, he can. I think Kebam's strategy too might be like, hey, even if we're a little bit weaker players in some of the lanes and we lose out in gold a little bit, we can also make up for the fact that we got Kog'Maw. So that's that late game trump card. Kebam actually really, really low here after that burst right there from Sona Ashe. They can actually put out a surprising amount of burst, especially if Ashe builds up that crit from her passive, which can be oh so deadly. I'm really, really scared once we get to the team fight stage of this game for them, because they're definitely going to be at a disadvantage. I'm sure the first dragon, when it goes down, will be really, really interesting to watch. See how Kebam decides to deal with this.
Yeah, I'm almost considering if I'm Team Kebam, I might almost want to forfeit first dragon, unless he can get his top lane down there really quickly. Wukong is not taking did not take teleport, but if they stack a Momo ult plus Wukong ult, and you maybe get some early pot shots from Kog'Maw, that it could go in their favor. I'm a little worried, because I think the Galio ult would be really strong.
Yeah, Galio followed by Sona. You have Ashe Arrow, and then Hemoplague comes in. Also, Nocturne can dive straight onto Kebam, and it'll be really, really hard to stop. They'll have the burst heal and the knock-up to try to protect him, but it might not be enough when all is said and done, especially with that AoE. It's going to have to be very, very careful and definitely on his positioning, because it'll be so, so important when we hit that late game phase and that team fight phase. If he's out of position and gets caught, their team probably loses most engagements just based on the comp. And they might actually go for a split push comp and at least try to stall out the game. If they definitely do hit that point in the game where they can keep Kog'Maw alive and in position, they can win a lot of team fights.
So Kog'Maw, or not Kog'Maw, Kog'Maw. Kebam is actually going to be wanting to... Oh, wow, and there goes a kill top. And we could see a trade.
Oh, great deception, but he's going to be actually feared out of the brush. He's not going to be able to escape Nimbus Strikes and Crushing Blow, but it's not going to work out. Mike Norman picking up a kill there.
And Vlad will take the assist.
The one that got away. He got him this time.
And if we are looking at the CS, there's
Ashe Arrow coming in to Kog'Maw. Get a lot of poke down. They're going to do a little dance now. Team heal coming in. They're turning around on this. Ashe actually has no mana, and they actually switched over to Sona's very, very squishy. Pops out that last heal and will just barely fall. And Lulu's actually going to pick up a kill there, but Ashe needs to be careful. She actually does have no mana, and a stun would be the key, and maybe they will take this as the sign to go for Dragon. Actually, they don't know this. I guess they might. Actually, they do know this, that Mike Norman was top, so there is no ult for him to dive in and try to get a steal with Smite. They will have the Smite advantage here. And Kunav actually just trying to back off, maybe catch Galio if they can. Quite a bit of burst damage, and they will pick off Dragon. So big play right there for Team Kebam, and that will actually even up the gold deficit that they had earlier. That's another way for teams that, if you're behind in the landing phase, you're not as good mechanically. If you can pick up, dragon buffs like that, you can actually even out that deficit, and that's what we saw right there. That's what it's really good. We like to see E5 again with that constant harassment on GR Freak. GR Freak does have his revolver now, I do believe. Yes, he does. Gonna hit that magical level 9, so that burst from Wukong's gonna have to be really good, but the sustain from Vlad's going to start to get really hard to deal with for him top lane.
As we look at, just look at the gold deficit. Even though they're up a dragon and 2 kills, they are still behind. It just shows that one team is farming better in the lane. But honestly, they're taking objectives. They're staying even. They're playing smarter in terms of the kills. So I really like where this is going. We have a really solid even matchup right now.
Yeah, it's a very even game, and again, it is important to point out a little bit more background behind these players. We mentioned it really quickly earlier, but Dexter and Sanctified actually have played together as a bot duo. They have that synergy. They actually played for the Raise Your Weapon competitive team when we actually took the #1 spot for Team Rank in Q, which was partly luck of timing of sorts. But they are really good. They've played in lots of tournaments together and are very good players, and so it is expected that they would be a very tough lane down here, and the fact that Kebam and Ader have been able to pick off a kill down there is actually pretty impressive against them.
It'll be interesting what they try to do with the next Ashe Arrow. The last Ashe Arrow didn't work out so well for them. They were able to pop. We saw a lot of summoners get popped, and that Ignite being kind of the MVP. How often do you see Ignite on a support? Honestly, I rock Ignite on support because I play Soraka and I'm kind of a troll when I support, but it's fun and interesting. I like it. I think it counteracts sustain lanes in a sense. You might end up stealing kills from carries, and it's probably bad at a more competitive level, but you know what? I'm all for it. Let's bring out the unorthodox. Let's take Lulu with some Ignite action, some Kog'Maw. Let's do it.
I'm actually all about offensive summoner spells on supports. And Flash Ignite, I'm okay with that. Whatever you want to do, whatever helps you win lane, bottom lane, anything that'll give you advantage in trades is really what I like to see. And what we saw right there was just great use of spells. And what most players would have done is, they would have took the Ashe Arrow, they would have took the initial damage. Most players' reaction after that, and getting stunned there essentially by Sona. There's another Ashe Arrow. We're following up with Nocturne coming in here to try to secure a kill. And there's that Lulu. Burst of health cannot be ignited to be dealt with, and Sona's actually kind of come in with her stun, but it's not going to matter. Kog'Maw just not paying attention, exhausted coming down now. Ashe doing a good job kiting, and might not going to pick up a double kill here, putting a lot of pressure in. Wants to shoot one more volley, it's just barely going to miss. Kebam trying to land that living artillery, a heal coming in for Dexter.
Wow, that was some
interesting. We might see some burst come down in here. There we go. Burst onto Kebam. He wants to try to get this kill. Shoots ahead of himself, anticipating the flash, but doesn't get it, but still gets a kill and trades for a support, which is actually a good trade for the bot lane. Dexter wants to keep this, and if I was Dexter, I'd back off a little bit, just because you don't want to lose that double buff for any shenanigans. There is no rotation going on, though. He actually can see everybody in lane, and they kill the jungler, so he actually is pretty fine right now. And we see an Oracle on Galio. That is dirty to spot out those mushrooms, but still runs into him right there. But that is a pretty dirty move by him. And Wukong all over again. Ignite's going down by both players, and E5 will just barely follow the minions, helping out GR Freak right there, doing a little work for top lane. And those trades are so close. Again, Wukong has a ton of burst damage, but Vlad does have a lot of sustain in return. So that is a crazy matchup up top going down right now. Looks like Kog'Maw 113 CS to Dexter's 145, so Dexter definitely pulling away in that bot lane, just mechanically. Very, very strong. Galio mid 146, keeping pace with Dexter versus Teemo's 83, so that's a huge deficit right now for Teemo. Pink going down from Sanctified, very, very smart right there. But actually, already there's a Oracle on the field, so maybe a little bit of waste of money for the current moment. But sometimes you buy those wards. Might have had it in his stash already. But in comes Galio, gets Polymorph, beautiful Polymorph, just barely protecting. But Kebam is actually going to be caught right in there. Burst of health coming in there, trying to deal damage to Galio. In return, he is going to fall. Ader needs to be very, very careful that he doesn't fall here. Dexter's going to take a lot of turret aggro. Flashes out of this, might not be good enough. Great ult coming in here, double kill for Dexter, turning back around, he is going to survive. Great Nocturne ult protecting him, and Kuna will fall as well, and this game is looking really, really good for Evil Cookies right now.
Yeah, they're actually not too far along from dragon spawning, but what they are able to do is possibly put a lot of damage on this mid turret. That's going to open up a little bit more map control if they can get this early turret. Here come the return pings, and I think they want Teemo to get out of there, but Teemo, you know what? I got shrooms. I got this, y'all.
Shroom it. Just shroom it.
And it looks like we're going to see another possible engage, and it looks like Vlad has actually taken an advantage in this lane. Well, even though E5 had first blood, and they did end up trading a 1-for-1 earlier in the second, on the second death of Vlad, but Vlad's a level ahead. That revolver and sustain is just making him almost impossible to deal with for a bruiser.
Yeah, I mean, as I talked about earlier, he, once Vlad hits that 9, gets that revolver, he's pretty hard to deal with, and it definitely has shown right here top lane, definitely taking advantage in those trades. And E5 is gonna, might have to start to rotate down, maybe give up top turret and help his team out, try to make something happen, because honestly, a Mumu ult plus Wukong ult actually stacked together can deal a lot of damage. Would be great initiation if they can, get off their initiation first and don't get counter initiated on. That is the key. You could even throw in a Lulu ult too if you want to, but I think she's kind of locked in this team comp. She's kind of locked down into protecting Kog'Maw. And again, I think the strategy for Kebam at this point might be, hey, let's just try to stall this game out as long as possible and get Kog'Maw as fed as possible and win that way. Because right now that looks like that might be their best option, because Evil Cookies is very, very strong in all their lanes. And they're just a really, really hard team-to-team fight, especially with advantage. Most AoE team comps, they're easier team fight, takes not as much coordination necessarily to fight out as a team that does not have that that AoE stacking ult kind of proficiency.
Yeah, and one of the things to point out, even though we have a lot of aggression here going on in Galio, they're not going to get a whole lot of damage done to Galio. He's really tanky at this point in the game. Actually takes a lot less damage from Teemo and Kog'Maw in terms of in terms of any sort of being an AP caster. All that stacking magic resist, reduces any damage from either Teemo's poison or Kog'Maw's auto attacks with Bioarcane Barrage. So, not really good trades that are going to go down there. And it looks like they're going to want to try and set up a team fight here. Wukong is going to come down out of the top lane. Actually,
rotating in from behind. He might decoy in first. No, he's not. Kuno's going to come in. He's going to catch 3 targets. Wukong needs to go in onto Ashe. He will go onto Ashe. Misses the stun from Sona. They will take out Ashe first. And Kebam has actually been ulted by Lu, just trying to keep his distance, keep safe, but he actually will go down to the Resonate Smite and Geth combo. And now it looks like Team Evil Cookies is coming out ahead in these trades with at least 2 kill advantage. They backed off Teemo to base.
They were able to pick up a spree on Ashe. So that works out well in their favor, but I don't think they're going to be... Uh-oh! A lot of CC going down here.
It was a really great grab on Galio, but it was just barely outside of turret aggro. If we would have grabbed him right in the turret, they probably actually could have converted a kill there and picked up that Oracles, which would have been really huge for them. Like Sanctified's gonna back now. Has a bunch of wards in his stash. Interested to see what he converts now. Probably gonna be heading for that Shirelio's Reverie soon, I do imagine.
Now, knowing that the enemy team back, they can actually rush down mid and take that mid turret if they so choose. I would recommend it just to kind of give them back that map advantage. And actually, E5's going to go in on Vladimir. Just a little bit of harass, just jumping in there with the Nimbus Strike and decoying out.
The standard, the standard harass combo from Wukong.
Now Bitterfoot's going to want to be careful here because
he has
even though
no turret to back up to, and he's definitely outclassed.
Even though he has a level advantage and blind dart, Dexter has been farming like a madman, and he's already got that Infinity Edge. He's got triple Dorns, he's got boots too, and he's got a Zeal already. So he's kind of difficult to deal with.
Yeah, it is kind of difficult to deal with, and it's important to point out too that Dexter, he's a very passive, wants to just play a farm game, and I think in order to be kind of successful against him, you want to have something like like a very aggressive lane. And although Kog'Maw's a really, really great AD, he doesn't necessarily play that aggressive early game very, very well, and so kind of just fed into Dexter's game. He plays AD bot, pretty much, as that is his main role, and Kebam's main role is definitely not AD carry. So it looks like they might try to stall out a second turret, but it's not going to happen at all. Getting pushed into their base already early at 21 minutes. They're down about 7k, which is actually going to really show in team fights. If we look at the enemy team, they actually have about 5 or 6k of that sitting in their bank account. Once they go buy that up, it's going to be really, really tough for Team Kebam to actually beat them out in a team fight. Team Kebam looks like they're going mid. Maybe they will go for that mid turret. Evil Coookies just waiting patiently in the brush, maybe hoping to pick off a straggler. I don't think Kebam's going to let his team be too foolish and face check this, but Adir's going to do it anyways. And missed Sona by Sanctified, and Kuno's going to come back in here, try to make something happen. And look at that AoE damage is working out working out pretty well, but everybody's just not low enough. No one's really dying for Team Evil Coookies. Kuno coming back into this. They will pick up a kill onto Vlad, trying to deal in here. Kebam coming in with his Iggy surprise, and actually this is turned completely around for Team Kebam, and they pick up an ace. That AoE initiation. Look out, we might have a comeback on our hands here, and that is exactly what Team Kebam needed. Their gold shot up right away, and they're going to pick up a middle turret as well. That's exactly the kind of thing they need. Evil Coookies can go back, buy some more burst damage in there, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Wukong was actually able to get through all the AoE crowd controls. Sona's all completely biffed. I mean, just absolutely missed. I don't think she hit anybody.
She hit some brush.
Okay, well that brush was dancing. But Wukong was able to, once he popped his ult, he was able to Nimbus Strike over to Ashe, and Ashe was like, well, I got nothing, right? I got a guy that can jump to me. I believe her arrow was down. I think she fired it off, and Galio was able to zone out the other team, but Wukong is a bruiser. He does no cares how fed you are. If you're a ranged AD, he's gonna get in there. You got nowhere to kite, and I mean, plus she took a little bit of that damage from those early AOE's because Wukong's ult and Momo's ult just kind of did a lot of that early damage, just enough to get them low enough that he could take out Dexter. So once he cleaned up once he took out Ashe, he was able to come back into the fight and just absolutely hammer it home.
It looks like we have Evil Coookies teaming up for Dragon, but don't be quite fooled yet. As I talked about earlier, they had a lot of unspent gold actually in their bank account, so watch out here for this next team fight because they're going to have all their ults up. I guarantee you Sanctified is going to be as careful and impatient as he can to not miss another ult. Definitely don't want to do that on stream, and they're going to try to land all their ults, and they've bought up now, so they will be a little bit more tanky in this team fight, and that might be what makes it so Wukong can't quite get off the kill that he wants to get. He's pushed up top lane, just still trying to get that top turret. Maybe going to do some split pushing. Looks like he's going to just be careful and back off. Adir backing off as well.
So yeah, what they're doing right now is they're waiting for Momo's ult to come up. Momo's got about 10-15 seconds left on his ult. They don't want to team fight until it's up. He'll probably tell the team, hey guys, I'm good to go. Let's do this. So he's got blue buff. It's on a shorter cooldown. He's going to have mana for the next team fight. They got top lane pushing. This is good. It's going to send at least one or more up to the top. That's going to allow them to get bot and or mid lane pushed out to give them that more of a little bit of map control. Also in the last team fight, they were able to take out Galio's Oracle. Now I don't know if Sona purchased a new one. We can check real quick.
Who's Oracle?
If Sona purchased an Oracle? No, she did not. So that was really good for them being able to take out that Oracle because it's going to allow them to drop some of those wards, get a little bit more map control. It really could come down to the next team fight. Who baits who has like the best positioning.
I think Kebam really Team Kebam, the blue team definitely still needs, they have to have that good initiate again. They have to catch you know, the other team on the back foot. They definitely, if they get initiated on, they're done. It's pretty much over. They'll get teared down before they even get a chance, you know, to counter initiate or deal out their damage. So it'll be very interesting to see, you know, what they can do. And again, you know, anytime they trade, even if they trade and it's a really, really close trade, that's actually a good thing for Team Kebam. They're only 6K behind right now. The deficit has been cut. And really just want to farm up Kog'Maw, get Kog'Maw into late game, and protect him as much as they can when they rotate into that phase of the game. And they should be okay. Just have to avoid getting him caught out here.
Yeah, I mean, Kog'Maw is going to be really good late game. If I mean, just saying he's good late game is one thing, but understanding that the other main team's running double AP, which means they don't have a bruiser other than, you know, they only have one gap closer, and that's Nocturne. If they can peel Nocturne off of Kog'Maw, which you can easily do with a lot of your AoEs, Blind Dart, or even Lulu ult, or Lulu's kit in general, you've got this opportunity to let Kog'Maw just eventually go nuts. And I think that's, you know, as long as this game goes on and continues on, that's where they have a really large advantage. The problem is they're playing around here in this bush with a lot of wards where the enemy team knows, you know, where you're at, so you're not really gaining much of an advantage.
Ash Arrow over the wall into Bitterfun. That is a prime target, but he's not the huge damage target. E5 almost in on his opponents, and Sanctify going to land all on two people now. Wukong all into this fight. Mummy all coming down now, back in the back of the fight. Polymorphed is Galio. Galio is going to get off his Idle Duran. Finally now into E5. E5 taking huge burst damage. Kebam trying to back out of this, but that burst damage, that AoE damage is too much. And Kog'Maw actually will pick up Nocturne in the process. Double kill, though, for Dexter. That's not what they wanted to have there. Feeding Dexter just a little bit. They should be able to tear down this tower really quickly. Don't have a lot of clear ability, and Dexter actually has some AD. But looks like they might back off and actually take Baron in response, which would be pretty good. Again, this sad pink ward down here, actually not able to see up here in vision, as you can see right there. So not able to catch that top ward, which could see them the entire time when they were dipping around in the bushes. And
now, I don't know if they're going to have... Yeah, they should have enough damage here. The question is, do they have someone who can tank it? So they're going to be moving in and out here, trading hits on Baron. I think they're going to be okay. They're going to have... They're not going to have Smite, but it shouldn't matter. Dexter does a ton of damage. And I think really what we saw there was maybe a little bit of lack of communication. The first, you know, in the previous team fight, they stacked all their ults beautifully. This team fight, the Momu ult and the Wukong ult, like there was a lot of time between the two. It wasn't just kind of one on one right after the other. Wukong was trying to get in position to make sure his ult went down on Ashe, and, you know, he was saving it. He was being a little patient. Momo was like, "Holy crap! They're all here. Let's just press R." And I mean, they were still good ults. I think the problem was, you know, once Galio got in, they were a little more tanky. They've got a lot more gold as a team. They were just kind of stronger.
I think definitely the difference, you know, for me in that team fight was part of it was Evil Coookies actually spreading out. They did some good spread out. They weren't all clumped up, you know, to be able to be caught by both ults, which like reduced some of that AoE effectiveness and damage. And the other thing too is they did buy up like we talked earlier, and so they were, you know, they were a little bit stronger than when they last met, and they weren't able to be torn down as quickly. And so a lot of them came out ahead with those damage items that they had built up, combined with defensive items as well. And overall, you know, just, you know, good play by Evil Coookies so far. As we see them trying to push down this turret, they will have the advantage because they do have that Baron buff. Going to get the health and mana back so they can sustain a push very, very well against Team Kebam, who honestly doesn't have the best clears. I mean, they can clear a wave, but a lot of them have to get in close. Unless there's like some mushrooms up front to try to clear it out. I mean, they can't instantly, you know, wipe a wave like Galio can when he pushes in. And so we're going to see this tower poke down pretty quickly. They need to be careful if they don't get caught out. Initiated by Ash Arrow, which is up right now. And if that lands on the right target, it might be, you know, lights out for Team Kebam.
Yeah, they definitely want to be very wary of the Ash Arrow. And that's exactly what I liked about this comp. You know, it was a double AP. It wasn't the best like double AP comp. But having Ashe in your double AP comp is just changes so much in terms of dynamic. Because you can initiate off of that arrow if you need to. You know, it's not just though, hey, wait for Alistar to pulverize, you know, a team of players, you know, or flash pulverize, or hey, let's wait for a Mumu to bandage toss in. It's like, hey, we got this long range ability to initiate, we got this ability to pick opponents off, and we have a really strong ability to team fight. And I like that, but when you have that in between Vlad and Galio, so I really like what Matt Kopp did here. He said, hey, we're gonna build an AOE team fight comp, but we're also gonna put our players on some of the champs that they like to play, and we're gonna have the ability to initiate through the jungle, whether it's Nocturne or Ash Arrow.
Yeah, and I mean, I really do like this team comp. I think it was really, really smart. It reminds me a lot of a game I recently casted between Average Bads and Soft Pudding, where Soft Pudding took the the AOE team. They took Nocturne to get those dives in while the AOEs are going up. The one thing that team was missing though is they actually picked Janna instead of Sona, which actually feeds more into the stun combo and this effect of an AOE team. So that was the change there. But this comp can be very, very effective, and they also switched out Galio. Galio was Tenon before, which Galio can be really, really effective at shutting down mids. And he did a really, really good job farming actually against that unorthodox Teemo mid. And now they're just waiting, to clear these lanes again with their superior pushing power and their Baron. And try to clear out a turret here. Baron is almost up. About an eighth of it left.
Yeah, it's definitely a waiting game at this point. They really want to wait out Baron. If you're actually in this game, you're kind of looking at the scoreboard and saying like, hey, we're only 2 kills behind. Now you can start trying to calculate how far behind with Baron and Dragons and other minion stats. But overall, you're like, hey, the thing that comes out to you the most is we're only down 2 kills, and our minion just took a turret. Yeah, what? So they're kind of trying to pick and choose their battle. They're
Shirley's Ribbon is popped, and Polymorph actually going down onto Gallery right before he wanted Idle Duran. Great stacking of ults there. Wukong coming in, canceling the ult potential from Idle Duran. It is canceled now. Jerfrig diving here, and Kebam's in a lot of trouble. Is going to get bursted down. Wants to turn around, maybe get a kill, but you see Jerfrig just healed right back up there, and just superior. Just damage output and levels right now and items. It's kind of pulling through. I was about to mention that Kebam actually in CS is creeping back up to Dexter with those kill differential. And you look at his items, Kebam pretty much has the same items except for Dexter, has extra 2 BF swords in there. He has a Last Whisper, which is going to make him a lot more effective at outputting damage a lot quicker than Kebam. And right now it looks like they're going to get an inhib and probably work into, I don't think they're going to get a base turret out of this. We're probably going to see them gear up probably to force a fight at Baron if they can, and then if they can do that, then they will just clear out the game with their second Baron. Baron did just go off, so they have a little bit of time to kill until then. Steal some buffs from their opponent's Kebam. They're going to have to maybe make a last-ditch effort and move in there and try to steal the Baron, stop the Baron, do something, because they are behind and they're facing a superior teamfight team who's looked really, really coordinated. Gotta hand it again to Evil Cookies. He picked a really, really good team here, and they're playing very, very well together.
Yeah, I'm looking at Wukong's build, and I actually like the new item, Maul by Mortis. Really good against this double AP comp. He went for like a Glacial Shroud, which is part of like the component for Frozen Heart. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I might have gone for something. I mean, it still gives him that armor, which he wants to deal with against maybe Ash, but I think some health might have been, maybe like a mallet, Wit's End, something that type of your standard bruiser build. You see that on a lot of junglers as well. With a Mumu going in there, a Mumu is going the Kebam build, and if you don't know what Kebam build is, you forego any sort of GP per 10 items. You rush right into Aegis, you get your Merc Treads, you get your Sunfire Cape, and then you go right into Abyssal Scepter. And that is like the end-all be-all Amumu build.
Tankiness, damage, personified.
Exactly. I mean, Kebam will swear by it. If you ever play Amumu and Kebam's on your team and you go like early gold for 10 items, he's going to be like, well, it's not a bad build, but it's not optimal. And, and I take it, I've had an opportunity to play Amumu quite a bit. As I do jungle, and I've actually switched to more of a
Asher coming down lane. Looks like it's going to miss everybody, so that is down. That is actually a good sign for Team Kebam. They don't have to worry about the Ash Arrow initiation, so that actually is a plus for them right now. They're going to have about a little over a minute to try to utilize that time to maybe start an engagement and make something happen for themselves. And the jungle is dangerous because for them it can be good because it'll bunch up the enemy team, but at the same time the enemy team is running a team comp as well. It looks like they've juked down, but they were caught by a mushroom. I think they were juking down and they popped Shirley's River because they really quickly wanted to start a Baron. They're still going to do it anyways, even though they're eating mushrooms right now.
Those mushrooms.
Man.
They were like.
And Galio thought about it. He was like, I want another one. Nom nom nom.
They're like, Shirley's River. Oh, Wow. What the F?
Disappointment in my mouth.
Timo's global taunt, like, what? I got mushrooms.
Yeah, no, great smart placement by Mr. Bitterfun right there. Actually getting in some sweet mushroom action right there and protecting Baron for them. Although they still, I guess I think they actually did see from that brush right there that this was going down. They were going to try to patiently wait this out, and they need the rest of the team there to back up. They need to be careful that Evil Cookie doesn't initiate on their team and just cancel everything out with the Idol of Duran. They've had excellent polymorphs in the meantime, and there is an Idol of Duran's going to catch 3 people in the meantime, and just the rest of Kebam's team melting right now. He's not going to be able to survive that, and they pick up Baron, and this is surely going to be the coup de grace. And as Evil Cookie is going to close this out, clear out some turrets, and clear out some inhibitors, and press home. Down 30, about 30 seconds left for Lulu to come back, and she ain't going to stop a push. I will tell you that much. Unfortunate, but congratulations to Team Evil Cookies coming through with the first victory of Judgment, although I'm not quite sure. We have other games going on. We have 3 other games besides this one going on. But definitely picking up a win, and there's the surrender. Congratulations to Evil Cookies. Matt Kopp, moving on.
You're UW PCM!
The question is, though, is Matt Kopp going to face his fellow UW PCM member Hatris, or is going to be faced against Tatsulo? That is the question.